Audrey here on the top of the Red Rocks here in Sedona with Drunvalo and members of the 13 Moon Walk for Peace. How are you this morning?
I'm good. We're not in yet. I don't know how they fell off the line, so I'm kind of...
All right, well, you know, if...
doing this thing, so I'm just kind of here like, hey.
Well, let's remember that we are online, and so thank you, Makua, for holding the energy of the call, and as we get through the technical aspect of things, I know all is well. In the meantime, I suppose we can start broadcasting. Are we in that space?
Yeah, actually, right now we're not on live. I have you on screen.
Okay. Can you put us on live, and we'll roll with it?
Okay, here we go.
Good afternoon and welcome to Peace Talks on Life Conversations Radio. We are here in Sedona, Arizona with Drunvalo and the 13 Moon Walk for Peace. Those of you who have been following us know that we're making our way across the country. Our intention is to awaken the heart of America, and we do that by awakening our heart and growing more and more into what it means to be in that inner verse of the heart and to expand that out to the world around us. And so that in that space, all we have to do is be mindful of the fact that our responsibility is just simply to show up. And so we certainly have shown up today, Drunvalo, and it is an honor to be here with you. I just would like to begin by saying thank you to Mother Earth and all the beings of this dimension and all the dimensions that make up what we call life. Just give thanks for bringing us here.
Thank you, Audrey, and it's an honor for me to be here with you too. And I just want to say that my prayer is that what happens today is a blessing in the lives of everyone that hears this, and for all life everywhere. And thank you.
Thank you. You know, this is a continuation of a conversation we've been having. Drunvalo ran up the mountain in about 3 seconds, and it took the rest of us about 30 minutes to get here. But I wish I could visually show you where we are. It's an amazing space. So it provided the expansion of and union of all of our thoughts as we began to have a conversation. And the one that really touched me, or one aspect of our conversation that I wanted to just go right to, is the whole conversation around the plasma beings, particularly in relationship to the time that we're in, Drunvalo. Can we talk about that?
Yes, of course. What is it that you are interested in?
The part that I'm interested in is how we tend to think of ourselves often in this dimension very focused on the self. And those of us that gain a little bit, then we continue to, that radiance goes out more and more, and the more enlightened we become, the more we realize that our self is just everything. There is no separation. But at a time that we're in on the world where there are many, many things that must change, I would say change for our survival, change for the upliftment of Mother Earth and humanity in that sense, there are those beings, not just of this dimension, but multiple dimensions, who are trying to show up now to teach us and to help us. Not necessarily, they can't do our work, but they're certainly here to awaken us even further.
It's true. It's not just from inside the Earth, it's outside the Earth too. Extraterrestrials, they've been here for a long time. And I know that most people are not truly aware of their existence. We've been hearing about them, we've been seeing their ships, we've been, all these kinds of things. But the times are changing now where some of these very benevolent beings have decided to begin to make their move and to begin to make themselves aware, make us aware of them. And their intentions are absolutely pure. Most of the most of our experience with ETs and other forms of life have, in the past, have not been real good. This was with the Greys and the reptiles and these kind of people who abducted us and did kinds of experiments with us and everything. Those days are gone. And now it is the other beings that really do love us and care about us. These people are now beginning to make themselves known around the world. And there is this particular one, which the Mexicans call the plasma beings, because that's where they first appeared on Earth. And my experience with them is extended from about 1996 until the present. And it's only until just recently that I've had direct connection with them. And they really do care about us, and they really do want to help us. And so if that is your interest, I will do my best to try to tell you what they have to say.
Absolutely.
Well, I'll give you a little bit of history, my history on this. In 1996, I had Mexican friends coming over the border with footage of film and photographs of their ships coming out of a volcano south of Mexico City. And these people were actually on the rim of the volcano watching these ships coming out of solid rock. And these ships they look like they're made out of light. They're not solid like we would normally think. And they have an orange color. They look kind of like lava. And they glow. They brightly glow in the dark. And so I had 6 different people showing me these photographs and pictures, and they were people I trusted, and they said, you know, what is going on? They're coming in and out of this volcano about every hour or two, and then moving around the countryside in Mexico. Well, I wanted to go down there immediately. I said, I got all excited, and I said, well, I want to go see them too, you know, and so I got a filming crew all ready to go, and I started to go, and then my inner guidance told me, no, you can't go now. Now is not the right time for you to do this, and it was hard for me to say no. And then the film kept coming from Mexico, and I had footage of their ships landing and them getting out and walking around on ground and the kinds of things that they were doing. I saw in these footage where they would get out of their ships and the ship would get smaller. And another person would come out and the ship would get littler. And then they would walk around, and I watched in one of the films where they walked right through each other. And I went, whoa, I've never seen anybody do that before. And then they got back in the ship, and the ship got bigger. And then it went up into the air and broke into 2 identical ships and went in different directions. And they go, hey, this is something I have never seen before. And I became, it's a long, long story, but I became friends with a person, Carlos Diaz was his name, and he was one of the first people to ever see them. Actually, he actually has been on board these ships, and on one day when he was on one of the ships, they told him to come to me. And he had never heard of me, he didn't know who I was, and that he was to give me a lot of his footage and film and everything. And so he had to find out who I was, and went through a whole thing and finally discovered, and then went through my organization and and asked me to come to Mexico City. And so I did. I flew down to Mexico City and had a meeting with him, and that's when he began to fill in a lot of their history and understanding, which I didn't understand at that time. Then he wanted me to. He said that they said that I could go on board the ship also. Well, yes, I'm going to go on board if they want me to go. And so I said yes, and he says, okay. He gave me an exact date. It was about 2 months in the future at a certain time. He said, you come back here, and it was down to the minute, actually, and they will come out of the ground, and you can go on board the ship. And he said, I can also bring 100 people with me if I wanted, and I could film it. And, you know, and I said, well, okay. And so I went back, and I was friends with Marty Hornstein and the people who made the Star Trek movies, and he got me in connection with what's his? I forgot his name. The guy with the band in Star Trek around his eyes. I forgot. He has Eagle Nation Films, which is in connection with Paramount.
Jordy.
Yeah. Anyway, I told him about this, and he got all excited too. And he says, "Okay, we'll film it. We'll film it." And so we were all ready to go. And then the Pope John Paul, invited Carlos Diaz to come to the Vatican because he wanted to talk to him about the plasma beams. I go, okay, so he went over there and talked to the Pope about all of this. And the Pope is evidently really believes in extraterrestrial life forms and how they're going to interconnect with us at this time. And he's actually talked about this publicly, though it didn't go out very far. And he even said that he was going to prove it, and he started to make an observatory, which he started building here in Arizona, of all places. And then he died before he was ever able to complete this project. Well, anyway, when Carlos Diaz was with the Pope, the dark side stepped in, and they went to his house in these, all dressed in black with machine guns, and they took part of his family. They kidnapped part of his family. And so when he got back, they told him that if he continued with me, that they were going to kill his family and him and everything else. And it's the same old stuff. But it did create fear in him, and he wouldn't connect with us anymore for a very long time. And I honored that. I just let it go. And then years went by, and about a year ago, the plasma beings told him to reconnect with me. And so we have reconnected. And whatever that force was is no longer trying to stop him. There's it just isn't happening anymore. And we are in the middle of doing something for the world that, if it happens, every single last person on Earth is going to know. So hopefully it will happen. We don't know. I can't tell you what it is yet.
All right, so you're going to just leave us hanging on that.
I'm sorry.